Pod.
Rugby pod.
Hello and welcome back to the Rugby Pod after the Prem's big match bonanza weekend.
Loved it. We had Gloucester hosting Leicester at Villa Park.
We ate Villa.
I was there. Bristol hosting Harlequins at the Principality and Saracens hosting the mighty Northampton Saints at Tottenham. And of course, in classic Spurs fashion, the home side lost. It's like a coach though. Anyway, Saints have more league wins than Spurs in 2026.
At the Tottenham Hotspur
See,
Stadium.
I'm just deflecting.
Well, it was all about away wins this weekend because no one at home in the Prem won. Everyone lost. And we'll, of course, be analysing, dissecting and discussing all the action from the URC as well. And we have a very good friend and former England international, an absolute hero of a bloke.
Warrior.
A true warrior. He makes me feel bad about myself.
It's the polar opposites,
Yeah,
basically.
it is. And we were mates when we played at Newcastle together. The legend Mark Wilson's going to join us for an interview as well.
Hell of a story.
So settle back, enjoy, and make sure you're subscribed on
Spotify. Very serious, Rob, but yeah, let's do it. This episode is brought to you by Honda. Picking a car is like picking a teammate, and there's a Honda for every kind of player.
There's the classic Civic, SUVs for bringing your kit anywhere, and the compact Jazz for daily runarounds. Plus, the sporty Prelude on the horizon, bringing the power off pitch.
There's EV options, hybrid options, plus safety features like adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist as standard.
Classic Honda reliability and peace of mind.
Visit your local Honda retailer to discover the range and book a test drive.
He's sore as fuck today, Bobbis.
So funny.
The gooch. He said his arse is bleeding, his balls are bleeding. He's struggling to sit down. Like he's trying to hold himself up off the chair.
I said, send me a picture. That's what I said. He said, my arse is in bits after the run. I said, send me a picture.
So for people that don't know, Rob, this weekend you did the Ironman.
Not an Ironman. An Ironman's got a bike and a swim in it, hasn't it?
You couldn't do that.
Goode doesn't
Couldn't
know.
do that, no.
Goode doesn't
Ultra
know.
marathon.
Ultramarathon.
Yeah.
What was it? How far is that?
An ultramarathon is anything beyond a marathon, but this one was like 2 marathons. So
Okay.
it's 78 kilometres it was.
All right. No, I saw that on your
that's
Strava.
good.
Yeah,
Strava.
Straight
yeah.
line. Did you get picked up or did you go out and back?
No, I got picked up at the end.
There you go.
Wife and kids picked me up at the end.
Did you cry?
No, didn't cry.
Did you get any appreciation?
No, they were like totally not asked at all.
Okay.
Just
What was
no
it for?
It was supposed to be a race, and then the company that was doing the race went bankrupt 2 weeks ago.
Robbed all the money.
Hey, like the boat in
Robbed the
France.
money.
Yeah.
Like the World Cup boat in France.
Basically took everyone's entrance fee and just said, nah, we're not doing it.
Yeah, that's what they did. But so me and my mate just decided to run it anyway.
Oh,
They're fucking legends.
hey, look at us. Me and you doing exercise over the weekend. Goody, what did you do over the
I
weekend?
did loads of exercise over the weekend.
Mate, your heart was racing. That's it, mate. Hey.
I walked a lot around Dublin in hours that I shouldn't have been walking around Dublin.
So me and you have been training hard, Roberto.
I saw you in your Lycra.
Oh, how bad in Lycra?
Can I ask a question? Though?
Yeah, go on.
Everyone's in Lycra. You looked all right in it, to be fair.
As good as you can.
I thought you looked good in it.
All right, thanks,
Yeah.
mate.
Well, what's with the fucking aviator sunglasses when you're on the bike?
Yeah.
It's called accessorising.
Where's the proper sunnies?
Mate, I had nothing. I had no bike. I had no shoes that were right. I had no watch to know how far we were going. I was so under
Why?
prepped.
All you do is
under equipped.
all you ever do is put stuff up on the watt bike, doing weights in your jeans.
So you know me better than most, Andrew. I like what I like. Like I go in and I do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But when it comes to organisation and travel
You're
and
fucking
adding
terrible.
different, I'm awful. So I'm on my way down to Gloucester, and I ain't got a bike, so I'm having to.
Who goes
speak
on a
to the
bike?
team.
Who goes on a bike ride or commits to a bike
It's not
ride?
the first time I said I don't have a bike. I said to the team I don't have a bike. They said they were sorting a bike, but no one had told me that they not sorted a bike or sorted a bike. Anyway, I spoke to the team, they hadn't sorted a bike, so I had to ring Ludds. He's got a game the next day. I'm like, Matt, I need your bike. So I rode on Lewis Ludlow's bike.
Yeah. Where were the jeans? You should have done it in your jeans.
It's not about me, Andrew.
No, it's
I
not.
didn't want to make it all about
How
me.
is the gooch though?
Absolutely fine. But
Is it?
Rocky's on
Is
the
it?
other end. Rocky's on the other end. She was telling me that hers was in pieces the whole way around. She was hilarious. She listens to the show as well. She was very complimentary of me, of us, and the show. So I wanted to give her a shout out because I did ride next to her and I was in tears laughing with some of the comments she was making. I can't say the comments.
Yeah.
I can't say, but they were gooch related.
How long did it take?
I don't even know. We're doing a thing to camera. I didn't know it was on BBC. So me and Tins are chatting to the cat. It's like a cat on an iPhone. I was just like having a little bit of a crack. And then next thing, when I finish, it's all on BBC, and I didn't realise that's the only thing that BBC will use me for. They've never used me for anything.
And you hadn't put the socks down the front to make yourself...
No, if I would have known, I would have done.
Acceptable.
It was a cold ride, let me say that. Dehydrated, but nonetheless for a great cause for Ed and for Lewis and the race to the Slater Cup.
Yeah.
And it was manufactured. Let me just put that out there. We were so fast that we had to be held back by 20 minutes. We got in there, and John was like, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "All right, John."
So Leicester won the ride.
Leicester won the ride by about 2 minutes, I think. I don't even know.
Manufactured in.
Well, we were there. We were round the corner for like 20 minutes.
We're going.
Because it's Martin Johnson. Because it's Jono. No, you tell him.
Yeah,
I ain't saying anything.
Well, Jono wouldn't want to take the victory, knowing full well that you boys stopped and let him have the victory.
Oh, so was it a race between Leicester and Gloucester?
Well, it was meant to be a race, yeah.
Right.
Leicester beat Gloucester in the bike ride because you pulled over. It's like Gloucester pulled over in the first 15 minutes. You were at the game. They didn't even come out of the changing rooms, did they?
Yeah. Should we go pitch first, or should we go? Yeah, let's go pitch first, because the biggest talking point of the weekend will be is the side of the pitch.
Yeah.
Leicester, very good, mate.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there. Under Jeff Parling, they got out of the blocks quick, attacking shape.
Some weak defending. Let's be honest. Some shocking
I was going to ask you
defence.
about that, because I watched it live, and again, when you look at the highlights, you can't see, and I don't want to call the lad out, but yeah, 15, Red Shaw. Made a couple of errors on the edge from what I could see, and fell off tackles. And I was watching Gloucester, and look, let's just start the process of the emotion going into that game, and that might lead on to Jeff as well. There was a lot of emotion going into this game for both teams, okay, especially for Lewis Ludlow, for example, who's been captain of Gloucester and who's one of Ed's best mates. So when you're in that hyped up emotion and there's so much riding on the game externally, you need to get off to a good start, right? And I saw the lads were fucking puffing, the Gloucester lads.
Was there too much emotion from Gloucester, do you think? Or because that can sometimes happen, can't it?
When I saw Luds under the post and Leicester had got their fastest ever bonus point, I was like, that's energy sapping, because they didn't have to work, Leicester, really.
It was a couple of missed tackles.
Yeah.
Bang,
it was.
Bang, try.
Yeah, and then they were chasing their tails. They ain't got tails, have they? Tigers have got tails.
I love that 10, 12, 13 with Billy Searle, Will Wand, Orlando Bailey. If you look where they were as well,
mate, that's what I mean. So that's the difference, right, with Leicester, is their recruitment. Okay, so you look at who they've brought in, and fault design, whatever you want to call it, with Billy Searle, mate, he's been a revelation.
Well, let's just rewind about it as we talk about them individually. So you talk about recruitment, and you talk about what Leicester's initial recruitment was. Signed James O'Connor to be your first choice 10. All right, they've signed Parisi. He was there last year, and he's a beast of a player, right? Can't get a game, can't get a start. And these lads that are coming through, when you say it, Billy Searle, who some would describe as a journeyman up to this point.
He's had a lot of clubs.
Yeah. And that's coming from me. I was a journeyman. You bounce around clubs till you find, I just kept bouncing around till I found someone that keep paying me. But like with Billy, he has found a club that suits him. Obviously, by chance as well, a little bit, there's been injuries, and he's taken his chance like you wouldn't believe. You know, you go back to the game earlier in the season when he kicks the winner against Bath with the last kick of the game, and he has just gone through the roof since then. Ball in hand, distribution, tactical kicking. You've got Orlando Bailey, who left Bath. He was there for years, came through the academy, couldn't really get a look in. He's come on, and he would have been signed as second choice, potential third choice. Yeah, Will Wan was playing for Cov in the Championship.
Oh, boy.
And I mentioned Will Wan last week, didn't I? Do you remember how good he is? And again, tore up at the weekend. Needs to sort the biscuit out on his lid still.
Who else they brought in last couple of weeks?
Hamish Watson.
Couldn't get a game for Edinburgh. And look at him for Leicester. That's another story for another time.
Yeah.
How the heck is he not playing for Edinburgh and he's playing for Leicester and playing that way? Well, I'll tell you how he's doing that, because he's a world-class player.
Yeah.
So that recruitment that they've made, can't go kind of like, I suppose, unmentioned.
Yeah.
And I will say, and there'll be some other news in this as well. So Jeff's come in, right? And obviously taken the reins. I don't talk my mate up enough, but Brett Deacon, what he's done in that Leicester squad for years and years under different coaches, right, has been incredible. Yeah. So I want to give my mate Deeks, he's doing the defence at the minute for Leicester. So he's been asked to do the defence maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and unbelievable at defence. Last year he was running the Leicester line-out, best line-out in the league.
Yeah.
So,
things are happening.
You talk about Lee Blackett, you talk about Sam Vesti, you talk about these young English coaches. My mate Deeks in other news, talk of him going to Gloucester. He's going to Gloucester.
We'll talk about it later.
I mean, what in the background, I suppose, of Leicester with all the changes that they've had to be in the position they are. Big shout out to Jeff, but also to my mate Deeks, who's held the fort for Leicester for so many years.
And obviously the emotion around the game around Ed. Did you see Slates?
Yeah.
How good is it to see him?
Yeah, it's
hard and good.
Yeah, well, Becky, my wife, said to me this morning when I spoke to her, because she said I hadn't spoke to her, and she said, "Oh, Ed looked really happy on TV," and like
I saw him smiling properly.
Yeah.
Because I've been with him when he's been dark as well. Right?
Yeah,
and it is a brutal disease. He looked a bit better.
Yeah,
which is something that you can't really say.
Like he had more energy. Yeah, like he looked like he had more energy. He'll be fucked after it, right? And because he's such a tough man, he's putting on a front for the game, and obviously there's a lot of stuff gone into the game from both teams, and the lads doing the cycle and the fundraising, and it's his cup and all of these things. But yeah, he was on good form, mate. Big smile, family were there, Joe, the kids were there, and it's like bittersweet. I can't explain, I can't contextualise it. Like it is really hard. And what did he say last year? Who he wants to win it? I think he's more Gloucester than Leicester.
I think he is now.
He lives in Gloucester.
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, to see so many people that he played with, right? He played with Jeff. Yeah. Jeff was a teammate at Leicester when they won the Prem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what, like, there was just so much more in that game than we're talking about the players or whatever, or the tries that were scored. It was, I don't know, I've not had much time to reflect about it.
How many were there as well?
Not enough.
Really?
Not enough. Yeah, Villa Park's a great state. Like, we used to go there as a kid, right?
We ate Villa.
I had Cov jersey. We, number 8 Villa. Get it, Sluggans?
Yeah.
We ate Villa, right? So it was awesome going back there.
Yeah.
And some of the games were really, like, I thought the Showdown was great. We'll get onto that from a visual point of view. But yeah, a lot of emotion in that game. And should we talk about the stuff with Jeff and Craig Doyle?
Interesting. I'm keen to hear your take on it.
Well, I saw Craig in the tunnel. So I'd gone down at half-time to do a thing around the tunnel for Ed. And then I saw Craig and I said, I hadn't been on my phone, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I hadn't been on my phone or anything, so I'm catching up with the old boys and watching the game. And Craig was like, what about that with Jeff? I said, I did. And he told me about it. And I was like, fucking hell, why has he done that for? And then obviously I saw it. And I love Craig Doyle, right? And Jeff is very straight-laced, right? He's very brand safe and all of these things. And I saw it, I was like, fucking go on, Jeff. In a way, the part of me, I was like, fucking go on, Jeff. And I feel for Craig. Like, one thing, Jeff's fucking younger than Craig. He's
Jeff looks older, but he's way younger.
Yeah, he's pushed him. I don't mind him telling him to fuck off the pitch. It's built a lot of hysteria after. Like, I'm a bothered. Like, either way, I get it from Jeff's point of view.
Yeah.
A ball's being kicked to where the lads are warming up. If you get one of them in the face, it's sore, isn't it? Like, if you get a ball smashed in the face or on the back of, you're fuming, aren't you?
Yeah.
And this kind of, and I'm all for the kind of circus pitch side. There needs to be levels of right about what you can and can't do.
Yeah. So I'll tell you about what happened. I spoke to Craig over the weekend, actually, and it's not Craig Doyle's fault. Everyone will blame Craig that disagrees with what's gone on. Well, it's not Craig Doyle's fault.
Who's the lad doing it? He didn't play for. I thought he must have been at Aston Villa, but he played for Yeovil.
Yeah, he's doing some. He does some TNT.
So he's
football.
a presenter.
Yeah.
Poor lad. Good kick, by the way.
Yeah, well, he missed.
He missed.
I'd have definitely missed it.
Great connection.
But here's the first thing. So when he kicks it, it doesn't hit anyone, and it's a one-off kick, right? But going back to Craig, so it's not Craig Doyle's fault. Craig has come out of the tunnel. He's done loads of stuff in the changing rooms. He's trying to grow the appreciation around M&D, and that's what it was all about, right? He's spoken a lot, showed the cup and everything. He's got a producer telling him, right, this is next, go on the pitch, you can do a kick. It ain't Craig Doyle's decision to go and do that. So the producer actually went and apologised to Jeff because they didn't get clearance for it. But, they put the ball down, and poor Craig's gone over. He's like, oh, Jeff's coming over. And I think 5 steps in, he probably realised Jeff wasn't coming over to say, yeah. He was like, oh, would you sign him? Would you sign him? And he's like, fuck off, pushes him. Jeff shouldn't behave like that. And Jeff's put an apology out. TNT Sports have put an apology out. It's all a bit of wishy-washy, everyone saying sorry. But Jeff shouldn't push Craig Doyle and say, fuck off. I get where Jeff's coming from, but let's not forget, TNT pay a shit ton of money that keeps the clubs in business. And clubs would fold without the TV deal. And people are like, it's not about the TV, it's about the fans. It's not. It is about the fans. It's not them or us. The fans are the fans that watch it on TV and the fans that go to games. And you can't have professional rugby without the TV deal and the fans that go to games. So, Jeff's apologised for it. TNT have apologised, get clearance. But there needs to be more of that because TV needs to be engaging, right? And so you need, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do.
But it's brought up viral clips and memes.
Yeah, it's like when you've done stuff pitch side, you've got Rory McIlroy, you've got Shane Lowry and stuff like that. That's what people want. They want something different.
Remember we had Rita Ora in the water bottles with the Springboks in the final and get her off the pitch. I'm like, fucking get her on. Sluggans, what does your woke mentality feel towards that? When you saw that the weekend, you're a wokey. What did you think? Don't put his hands on another person.
No, I thought the exact same as you. But I guess if he's come out and said sorry, I think it's that's done.
So one thing I should caveat, because I'm split either way. I love Craig Doyle. I'm a fan of Jeff Parling, and I'm a Leicester fan. There was a lot of emotion for Jeff going into that game. So for him, having to be head coach of a team like Leicester, away from home at Villa Park, but he played with Ed, you know what I mean? And like the build up for him of like how you manage that emotion. And he's very straight laced, right? So there's a part of me where I was like, he's a bit of a fucking motherfucker, you know what I mean? Like, he's a bit of a. So from a Leicester fan perspective, a lot of my mates who are Leicester fans, they love to see a different side to Jeff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That like he's got their boys' backs or whatever it is. And look, for me, as long as Craig's all right, which he is, and I imagine his ego's taken a bit of a hammering because it's doing the rounds. It's probably the most viewed clip Rugby's ever had, apart from my fight with David Pace. But I don't know. It's nothing to see.
Yeah, all
bit
good.
of drama.
We'll move on. Just you don't need to push people. And next time, Jeff was like, "Listen, lads, just get off the pitch." But you need to work together and everyone be friendly.
Things were close at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as well, wasn't it?
Thankfully, because after the start, it didn't look like it was.
No, you must have had split loyalties at the weekend.
Why?
Well, obviously, the Showdown is a massive game for Sarries. And then you're doing the bike ride with the Gloucester lads and you played at Leicester. Like, it was great that we had 3 massive games this weekend at 3 big stadiums. But also, for someone like you ordinarily would have been at the Showdown as well. The Showdown.
Yeah.
So how was that?
Well, that took priority.
Yeah.
Ed and the Slater Cup and the foundation took priority over work, even though it is pleasure as well, going to the Showdown. It was a level up from a production perspective and a buy-in from the fans. Brilliant stadium. Spent a bit of time there before.
Yeah.
And the worry was, from a Saracens perspective, like, where are we as a club? You look at
Where
Northampton.
Let's be having you.
And you look at Newcastle last week for Northampton, and you knew that they were going to come out firing. And they did.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, hopefully it doesn't carry on like this, because it will be a long day. What are Saracens in the mix for? Top 6?
Top 4. That's
still top 4?
Yeah,
all right.
They are.
But Northampton are just a better team. The trajectory that they're on, the attacking shapes that they put on it. Saracens were dominant up front, a couple of driving line-outs. Scrum was dominant, and that's about it, really.
George Furbank is class.
To move into 10, and this is why, right, internationally he gets picked. Where Northampton, when they dropped off, I thought was because Finn Smith went off. As good as George Furbank was, the way that they were putting shape on the board and stuff like that. When
Lads, how good's Finn Smith? I know he went off after, was it 29 minutes, 30 minutes? It's good, isn't it? I've been saying it. I have been saying it. The shape he puts on an attack, those first 2 tries, he makes the break for the second try, doesn't he?
Show and go, mate.
Yeah, but the shape that they run, and it's Sam Vesti-led attack, and they just do it so well. And it's led by Finn. There is obviously a big difference when he goes off. You lose your first choice 10, but Furbank, the way he slips in there, he was outstanding as well. And there's the whole thing last week, wasn't there? He shouldn't be playing because of his eye, and he just rocks up in a massive game, changes position, and creates shit as well. He's a class player.
What's happening with him? Because he was going. Everyone said he's going to Quins, but it hasn't been officially announced, so has it?
He's off to Quins.
Are you announcing it?
Well,
it came out, didn't it?
He's off to Quins.
Yeah, I've heard.
Hell of a signing
I'd
for
be
Quins.
fucking ripping that up now if I was George Furbank.
Why? They won at the weekend. Found their mojo again for one game.
It's because I said they were going to finish bottom.
Do you hate Quins as well?
We hate.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't hate Harlequins. I'm there on Saturday, and we'll come on to them in a minute. But you think about Furbs, a lot of it came down to length of contract and a bit more money, I think. And ultimately, when you're a player of a certain age, I How old would Ferbs be? 30 maybe?
I'm going to say 30.
Looks $1 million.
I
doesn't
thought
it?
we'd be younger. I'm going to say 28.
Mate, Darren Garforth's 60 this week. I don't
Very
know.
true. I'm not
I don't know how
great age
anyone who's
profiling people.
29. He's
29.
Oh,
yeah.
all right, in the middle. We'll meet in the middle.
Give him a year. Saints will be ruining, I think, letting him go because he's a worldie of a player.
I don't know if they will. Look at the players they've got coming through.
Look what he's done for them, though.
Oh,
and look how
I
good
know,
he still is.
I know, but
He's just had a bit of bad luck with injury.
But how they're bringing these youngsters through,
Yeah.
like Litchfield and George Hendy, and mate, the list is endless.
Ginger
right?
as well, double hard.
You've got the
Half
Italian
cash
lad.
and double hard.
Yeah. What's the Italian lad called?
Eduardo Dodaro.
Eduardo Dodaro. They've got him to come back as well.
Yeah.
I know he's not in the same position as Ferbs, but where the salary cap is now, what Northampton have managed to do really well, like Exeter, is get rid of the really high-earning lads who are. I'm not saying George Furbank is of an age profile of Courtney Laws, for example, but they're bringing in these youngsters. They're so well coached. They're a club that a lot of these lads, a lot of agents are pushing these young lads towards.
Yeah.
Because of the weekend of how well he played in that position, but. For me, I'm looking at the positives for Furbank going to Quins and how good he'll be for them, as opposed to what a loss he'll be to Northampton.
Yeah.
Sarries have sort of lost that. Remember, like when Sarries were really good,
Aura.
they had like they'd go into games and they'd see it out, wouldn't he? You could always see them win. But I mean,
They brought Jim
They
Hampton off the bench to see the game.
That's
go.
what it was.
That's what it was.
The
And Will
finishes.
Skelton.
Yeah. Oh, mate, Will
Bad
Skelton
injury,
did his Achilles this weekend.
But they were winning in the last 10 minutes, weren't they? And then
It's just they're just in that cycle. Like where they are in the league is a reflection, like a genuine reflection of where they are as a squad. Like that is what there's a little bit of Sarri, a little bit like Sale, in a way. Like there's
Sale have had it tough with injuries though this year.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, a few connections indeed. Like you see some of the Northampton, you see some of the tries this season, some against Bath as well defensively. That isn't what you saw of the Wolfpack.
No, it seems a different sort of system now though. Yeah, they haven't changed the coaching, have they? And when you saw the one when Finn Smith makes the break, I've never seen two Sarries defenders, or not really seen two Sarries defenders with their shoulders pointing
And
out towards the
drifting out.
touchline,
Yeah.
and drifting out and just getting rinsed. Like the Saracens that you know is fucking
it's
up and in, and,
up and in,
and boom.
fucking smash them.
and if you get done, you still get done. But
yeah.
it was like a in between defence, wasn't it? Where you're on the drift, up and out, and their shoulders are just so far pointing backwards or towards the touchline, they're never going to make a tackle. It was Theo McFarland out there. I said they seemed to lost their edge, and I said it on Saturday. We were talking about the Champions Cup last 16 games this weekend. You still think Sarries have a chance in the big games because they've got the big game players, but they're just not being consistent. And there is, I would say there's a few issues there, but it's a squad that's evolving, isn't it?
Marrow's good.
Yeah, Marrow was very good. Who said he was fucked and tired?
Well, he is going to be,
Played
isn't
about
he?
4,000 games. the
Yeah,
poor
he's
bloke.
going to be. But
But no, it was all about Saints, and that finish, McParland at the end. Litchfield makes the break again, doesn't he? Good players.
Tom Pearson in the back row.
MOM, baby.
You know what I mean? Like they've just.
He always grows a pair when he plays Sarries. Do you remember? No, I say grows a pair because I think he listens to the pod now. He's a good lad, Tom Pearson. But remember, he used to dish up for Irish against Sarries.
Yeah.
And then so it's a game that he's got the bit between his teeth in.
No.
Physical as you like.
Apart from the result, it was a good game all round.
Yes.
what about Pollock me old bollocks signing for, what did he call it? Matchsticks?
Oh, mate.
Matchsticks.
Henry Pollock. No, he didn't call it
What
matchsticks.
did he call it?
So it's obviously
Matchbox.
No, he called it matchmaker. I've signed for matchmaker. I'm like, no, it's matchroom. It's hilarious when you've done the big thing and like the big press release and everything that goes with it. And Eddie Hearn, who's obviously changed the face of boxing and plenty of other sports as well, for the fans, for the better, and for you getting money into the game. You sign that. There's the big press release, and then your first interview. You do the celebration, the boxing celebration that he does when he hasn't scored. I was like, that fair play. He's just living the dream and he's doing what he does. And some people will be like, "Oh, you idiot! He didn't even score, and you're doing the boxing celebration because you signed with Matchmaker." And then the interview is like, "Yeah, I've signed with Matchmaker." No, Matchroom. So hilarious. But that's Henry Pollock, right? I saw a clip the other day. I think Finn Smith put something out on social media where Pollock's doing an interview when he must have been 17, 18. Playing for England 18s or something like that, and he's just talking absolute drivel, but you love him. I love him.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I tweeted about it and spoke to Eddie Hearn as well.
What's he saying about him?
He is on the Big Jim Show, so you can listen to it on there. No, he's pumped. Like he is. What Eddie Hearn said is everything that we've been saying for 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? So he ain't saying anything new. He's repeating what we're saying, but with a much bigger voice and a much broader perspective on marketing sport. Right? So he is not reinventing the wheel. He is seeing an opportunity with an athlete, okay, that he can commercially turn into something big. And what he said to me, I've signed Henry Pollock because of money.
Yeah.
He's not signed Henry Pollock to grow the game of
No.
rugby. He's signed Henry Pollock because he
To make
sees
money out of Henry Pollock.
an opportunity. And I love that. It's
Yeah.
fucking black and white in that. And he was so surprised with how little marketing goes into the game. He didn't even know. He said, I didn't know Northampton were playing Saracens at Tottenham. He knew that there was a game going on and Henry was playing. He's like, what, you're at Tottenham? AJ fought at Tottenham. He's like, oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And that's the point, right, in this. But he gave me some gold dust when we chatted to him. And for me, looking at Henry, I'm like, he's the guy. So regardless of, people can tell me other things. And genuinely, if you're telling me the thing, I believe you're wrong. Henry Pollock, for me, is the guy. We identified him as a player first and foremost, right? We spoke about him early. We're like, this lad is an incredible rugby player. So first and foremost, you have to be great at your sport. Tick. At the weekend, all right, his performance married up to the hysteria the day before. He was one of the best players on the pitch.
Yeah.
The way that he was carrying, okay, you got the celebrations, you got all of this stuff on the outside. If you look at him as an athlete, and it's like, I'm wax lyrical over this young lad. I'm not. I just see it for what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it for any other reason. And if I'm seeing it, you've got Eddie Hearn seeing it. Saw Steve McManaman yesterday, right?
Oh, did you?
Saw him yesterday. He was asking for you at So Farmhouse, right? So we were...
big dog,
we saw him in Hong Kong. We were chatting to him.
Legend.
So he was asking for you.
Yeah.
And I said, like rugby. He said, this Henry Pollock. I said, you know Henry Pollock? He said, yeah, I know of him, yeah. I was like, this is a fucking cultural figure in football, Steve McManaman. He's one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
Who knows a 21-year-old Henry Pollock?
Yeah.
And that's the point in all this. So, Eddie did say that he's had 30 players reach out to him.
Oh, did he?
30 players reached out to him, said, I'd love to work with you. Of course you would.
Yeah.
And I said to Eddie, I put him on the spot, I said, name me 3 other rugby players.
Andy Goode, Jim Hamilton.
He could name 2. Who were they?
Current players.
Current players.
Marrow.
On Marrow, I was like, it's funny that you kind of know Marrow, but you don't. He is an Under Armour athlete, the same as Anthony Joshua. And he's in that kind of circle and he barely knows him. Who's the other one?
Marcus Smith.
No.
Finn Smith.
Finn Russell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Finn Russell.
So he said, he thinks, he said Finn Russell's the best player in rugby. And I was like, so he knows 3 players, right? And he said, like we all know, he's the target fan. Him and like people outside, sports fans, right? He's a sports fan. And we're trying to target them. So it was just really interesting. I think it's really cool. And I was pumped to have him on my show.
Yeah.
Well, we've announced that GHA Discovery are bringing us worldwide, wide. And the next stop is Hong Kong. Hell yeah.
Yes, it is, Jim. We'll be at the awesome Murray Hotel on Friday, the 17th of April in the evening, ahead of a massive weekend of Hong Kong Sevens action. I love Hong Kong.
If you want to join us for a big night, there's only a few spaces left. You can sign up for free at ticketpass.org by searching for the Rugby Pod. And all attendees will also get a free upgrade to GHA Discovery Titanium. On the night, which is a game changer for anyone who travels, like me. It's genuinely class and normally needs $15,000 spent over a year to get to Titanium, but it's free for our Rugby Pod guests.
And everyone else can sign up using the GHA link on our website, which is therugbypod.com, and you'll be upgraded to gold membership and receive $50 to spend at any GHA partner hotel in the world, as well as free upgrades. Perfect if you're booking an away weekend this summer or planning your trip to the Rugby World Cup in Australia, mate.
Get on it, mate, and we'll see you there. And a massive thanks to GHA Discovery for bringing the pod worldwide.
Do we get our guest on?
Yeah, let's do it.
We are now joined by an ex-teammate of mine, legend of a bloke, England international, went to the 2019 World Cup, but more importantly, since retiring, he has gone on to do some mad challenges, and it's my old mate, Mark Wilson. He joins us. How are you, pal?
Yeah, all good. How are you, lads? All right.
We're all right. Absolute warrior. Look, you've got the Iron Man hamburger in the back. Matt, I knew you were an incredible athlete, right? Not having just played against you and the way that you looked, but I saw some of the Wattbite scores and stuff when you were with England and you were the guy. But to watch what you've been through and watch that documentary on YouTube was incredible. Mate, you smashed it. I don't know how far it was. How far was it in 24 hours, but you did it in 20 or 21.
Yeah, it's so it's a fell running challenge in the lakes, which is it's roughly 66 miles. But you've got to summit 42 peaks in that time. So you start off from a place called Moot Hall in Keswick in the lakes, and you're basically going to go this route, do the 42 peaks, and get back to Keswick in 24 hours. So yeah, a bit of a savage challenge, but it's a great challenge. Absolutely superb,
mate. It is savage, and I couldn't do it on a scooter, let alone an e-bike or anything like that. But I'm going back to it. When we played at Newcastle together, we were training partners. I'm sure I was in the gym with Wilson at the same time.
You showed me up a few times in your Goode.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I just watched you train. I thought, no, this is me. The lads are just silly training now. But like you're towards the back end of your career, as we know, you had knee issues, and that obviously was probably what retired you. What makes you think, do you know what, I'll get the knee done and then I'll go on these crazy, mad challenges, doing Ironman, doing this Bob Graham round? It's just madness, isn't it? How do you do it? Because my knee and ankles are still fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I think it stopped me from being at the top end of my performance, if that made sense. I probably, in hindsight, could have played on, but I would have been shit. I would have been.
I don't think so.
Worse than I already was. I couldn't, and I felt like I lost my identity as that person who was. I always liked to be in front of the queue, especially around training hard and kind of setting the standards. And I mean, I was getting to the stage where I was training like once a week, and the physios were being really kind of hard on me to basically get me through to a weekend. And I hated being that guy who was on the touchline telling you what to do and not doing it themselves.
No, I didn't mind that. That was.
I know there's a few lads that wouldn't mind that gig, but yeah. So and then obviously when it did happen and I'd retired, I was like, you're institutionalized, aren't you? Where for 20 odd years I had this focus of one thing, and overnight it got taken away, and you just think, fuck, what do I do with myself now? Like, what am I going to do? And I just thought, well, my first thing I did was the Ironman, and I couldn't swim. So I was just like, well, I'll have to just learn.
Genuinely, because I watched the documentary, you couldn't swim before you did the Ironman?
No, I mean, when I think the most I got to, those stupid recovery sessions you do with England and Newcastle and stuff, it was just like swim a couple of lengths, but I could barely do that.
Wow. I've got you at something then.
Yes. So I had to kind of fast track that a little bit. So I signed up for it, and it was 8 months to the event. So I was just a bit like, right, well, I'll just have to learn, and also learn how to bike properly and run properly, So went over there, and it was class. Did a decent time of just under 12 hours. So yeah, it was a good start to it.
Mate, you say about your knee, and we're sat here the same, me and Goode. He's got a fused ankle, but that's not from rugby. That's just carrying a bit too much extra weight. My body's fucked, mate, even like systemically as well. And I'm watching your training, and it looked like you eased through what I saw on the video. You eased through a lot of it. And I say that respectfully, right, because there was a lot of training, and I'm sure it was really difficult. But if you've got a fucked knee, right, and there's other things as well, how are you managing not just to go uphill, but downhill as well, which you'd be in chronic pain, no?
Yeah, what I didn't realise is how important strength training is. I was probably doing kind of 3 to 4 proper good strength training sessions, but completely different to how we would do with the rugby side of things. Obviously, rugby's all power and speed, and you're doing big lifts for maybe 3 reps, where I was doing loads of single leg work and just slow control movements alongside some kind of plyo stuff as well. But it was just trying to make yourself as robust as possible, especially on that uneven terrain and shit. It's pretty challenging. So, but again, I kind of enjoyed that part of it, and that's the kind of bit I had on my side a little bit in terms of the strength and the power from the legs, especially with the climbs. It was just getting used to the landing and the trying to stay light on your feet, which I was never good at anyway. But yeah, that was the biggest challenge. But and something I still find pretty tough now. But yeah, it's that's the main difference.
And did you, during the challenge or even during the Ironman, did you at any point think, what the hell am I doing? Like, I can't do this anymore. Because I'd be like, yeah, that's me. I've tried it, can't do it, done. Quite easily. But I mean, mentally, you're a very stronger human being than I am, Wills, as is Richie McCaw and these guys that are doing endurance events. You have those moments, don't you? In games, in training, in pre-season, in these mad events that you're doing that you're like, I just can't go anymore. And you find a way. But how often did that happen? Because it happened to me every session, I reckon.
Yeah, there was two. Well, there was one in each really. The Ironman, when you get to the run stage, it was 4 laps, so it was like so demoralising when you got to start. Then there were 10k, well, just over 10k laps. So once you've done your first 2, bearing in mind you've been on the go for like 8 or 9 hours, the second lap you get through, and then when I got to the 3rd lap, I just thought to myself, shit, I've got 2 hours of running left. Like, you got 112 miles done in the bike. You got already kind of got 13 miles of running. I just thought that was a real challenge. I remember this old fella ran past me. Fair play to him. He must have been in his 50s, and he was smiling. And I thought to myself, "You bastard!"
How many moors has he been in though?
Yeah, I reeled him in. Yeah. But the one that got me in the bob. Was you come down off Scarfell Pike, which is like the biggest descent in the UK. 3.5k of just downhill, and then you've got this ridiculously stupid steep hill called U-Barrow as you go up, and it was just getting to like, it was hot. It was getting to about 20 degrees. We set off. It was kind of like late morning, and I was absolutely dripping wet with sweat, and it was just like. That we'd been on the go then for about 16, 17 hours. And that was the point where I was like, like we're up against it here. It was like a really nice moment. I don't know if do you remember the film Wayne's World?
Yeah.
Like where the guy comes through the desert and it's like he's like in a bit of a,
in a haze.
Yeah.
One of the lads who had helped us out in one of the legs earlier, I was like, fucking hell, that's him. I could see him in the distance, and he walked towards us. And he bought these ice cold cans of Coke, and I know it doesn't sound much, but oh my god, what
best kind of Coke you've ever had! Yeah,
the sugar straight down the guts. Honestly, just one of those turning points. I was like, right, I've got this in the bag now, lads. I've got this in the bag.
Where do you go from here though? Because you've done an Ironman, you've done the Bob Graham. Is there a tougher challenge that you can do?
I've got one for you, Wills. So I know a lad that's doing the Last Man Standing in Austin, Texas next week. Have you heard about that one?
Is that like a backyard ultra thing?
Yeah,
where they've got to go until you
just run around a farm until you can't go anymore. You're in, mate. I'm going to sign you up. Sam
Stewart at Red Bulls. He keeps sending me this thing from. It's called some on the Town Moor in Newcastle. Basically the same thing. So you go around the Town Moor in Newcastle, Last Man Standing. He's like, I'm going to sign you up. I was like, right. But no, I've got. So with this Bob Graham round, there's 2 similar ones. There's one in Wales and one in Scotland, and there's only something like 70 odd people who have completed all 3. So I'd like to. Well, I think again, there's no official record, but I reckon I'll be the heaviest person to do all 3 if I do that over the next 2 years. So gonna have a crack at the Wales one in May, and then a little trip up to Scotland next year, I think, and see if we can do all 3.
I'll tell you what I loved when you finished, right? And this is the rugby man in you. Was you finished the race, everyone's moaning, like not will we be moaning, you'd be looking for a drink of water. Chops a fucking pint, don't they? Was that straight after or was that edited in? Did you go back there a day later?
No. It's a genuine tradition they have. There's a pub next door called The Round. It's named after the Bob Graham Round. So they bring out your free pints. So that's basically what the tradition is. They bring a pint straight out because the marketplace was heaving, like everyone's cheering you. It's like unbelievable. So the guy brings it out, and my wife, Amy, I remember she said before the race, before the event, and she was like, don't you fucking dare sip that beer.
She told you to chop it.
Hey, you didn't sip it.
No pressure. So yeah, I thought, right, I'll put this straight down the gullet.
And how is life away from the game? I mean, I obviously played with you at Newcastle, and then off the back of playing with me, they realised how good you are at tackling because you did all my tackles and dirty work. You end up playing for England, going to the World Cup in 2019, and you were on fire, weren't you? Yeah, we were big fans. I was a big fan of you anyway, playing with you, but also breaking into the England team and all that stuff. A load of people talking you up, and then obviously you retire. We'll come back to the rugby in a minute, but how have you found that transition now? I know you've got your gym as well that you work in. Do you miss the game? You're doing a bit of coaching as well at grassroots level, but have you got any appetite to going back to the Red Bulls? Or because I know you did a bit of that at the end of your career as well, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I think with the whole rugby side of things, it's like never say never kind of thing. I miss the game in terms of I miss the camaraderie and the, like I said, being in those moments where you look around to your teammates and you're right in the challenge. That's what I miss. And do I miss being sore all the time? And those big Tuesday morning sessions, probably not. But it's those bits where you're preparing for something as a team. That's the bit that I really miss. But yeah, life's good. I've got running the gym, and I've got a lot more family time now, which is cool, and get to see my kids grow up a little bit more. And Zach and Ella, Zach's into his rugby as well. Definitely not a forward. Doesn't like tackling. So
very wise young man you've got there.
That's an issue. But no, he loves it. So, but yeah, so really good. And I still kind of started to reconnect with the Red Bulls a little bit more. There was a couple of years where I didn't really get much chat out of Newcastle and stuff, and they were going through a bit of a different time, and the transition now for those lads and the Red Bulls is super exciting. And they've been great with us so far with the ex-players. We try to get us a little bit more engaged and get us back to the stadium a lot more, and it's been really nice to kind of reconnect with some of the old boys. So it's quite an exciting stage for the club.
I haven't had an invite. I don't know what's wrong.
How's it going there at Newcastle? What are the lads saying? Over the weekend, I've got a few mates that are involved or speaking to the team about signing, and they are selling them the dream, new training complex, revamping the stadium. It seems like Red Bull are going to go all in.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think that when you hear about lads, what they've got on offer now is a massive change to what me and Goode had. Tell me that. So yeah, I think that they're definitely going to go all in. I think that people have to be realistic from the rugby side. That's going to take a bit of time. I don't think people can expect that to change overnight, because there's going to be a lot of new faces trying to get the team to gel. What the playing style is going to be like, but by the looks of who they've kind of recruited and who they're going to bring in from a coaching point of view, and the guys are saying how much they're enjoying being coached by Stephen Jones now as well. So I think it's proper exciting, and I'm looking forward to going back and watching them a bit more.
Just jumping around a bit here, because you mentioned Stephen Jones. In the documentary, you mentioned Eddie Jones in that and how much of an influence he had. And there's mixed reviews on Eddie. I'm a big fan of him. Goode, not so much. But it was really interesting that in something so powerful in what you did, that you referenced Eddie Jones. Just a few kind of notes, and I'm interested why you mentioned that.
Well, I think, like I said in the documentary, I think Eddie squeezed like every last drop of what I had from a potential. I wasn't a talented player, but he kind of seen some qualities that I had and just pushed me to the limit. At times, it was hard, and he was hard on me, but I'm kind of grateful for that. At the time, I wasn't. But,
what kind of things, Mark? What kind of things was he saying to you, hard on you with?
Just the way that he'd challenge you, if we come down for breakfast in the morning, even if I'd had a good session the day before, it would be, it'd be a way. It'd find something that I wasn't doing well or doing, and that would just keep me trying to get better and trying to prove to him. But what I thought he did so well was he didn't treat everyone with the same brush. Some lads in that camp, he had to, big up all the time and tell them how good they are.
That'd be me.
Since going into coaching, I totally get it. Like they get those characters who relish the challenge, and you get those characters who don't like that, and they kind of go within themselves. So I think he was great at that. I'm not saying he got everything right. No coach does, and I know people do have mixed reviews, but I'm very grateful for what he got out of me as a player, and the whole thing. When I talk about the whole attack mantra that he kind of taught me, it was an episode in the World Cup where I was struggling with my knee, and basically I was been a bit of fucking negative, and by that I mean as in I was moping around and worried because I was not going to play. And he picked up on that straight away and just basically gave me a bit of a hosing down and said, like, look, like you know, you're the only person who can sort this out. You know, so you've got to attack it. And I just thought that, I don't know, I can still remember it now, and I think it's great that I can use that in since retiring. You know, since retiring, doing this gym was a completely new thing to me. Going out on a whim, start a new business was, you know, shit scary, but it was, you know, I kind of live by that now. So, no, very grateful for it.
Awesome.
And then the 2019 World Cup was obviously probably the highlight of your career, right? Or maybe getting in the top 4 with Newcastle would be up there. You've obviously had some highs. But that 2019 World Cup and the semi-final specifically, when you get the turnover towards the end, that's got to be the highlight of your career and the biggest of highs. Oh,
absolutely. I think that I think just rewind to the autumn before was probably where I was playing my best rugby. Was like 2018 to the back end of 2019. I was really starting to struggle with my knee, and I did lose a bit of form. And there was the whole Sale thing going on in the background, and Newcastle getting relegated, which was shit, and wasn't in the best headspace going into it. But I think that the way that the World Cup went, although it had its challenges, as a team we had a perfect World Cup right until the last day. You know, it was the way that the games went and the way that we slowly built up into that New Zealand game was phenomenal. And I think the biggest thing that around that New Zealand game was that I wasn't involved in the quarterfinal, so I thought that was my World Cup done.
Yeah, I
kind of was almost a bit like, right, I don't want to regret this. I'm just going to go all out now and try and make my way into the team. And luckily got on the bench for that game. And so grateful to get on in such an iconic, result. And people talk about that fixture for years. And, to get the turnover at the end was really cool. I wasn't thinking about it at the time. I was just playing and keen and wanting to get involved. And, luckily, it was a great moment to be involved in.
Yeah. Last question from me then. With the new gym, and I know a lot about gyms. I've seen a fair few in my time.
They're different gyms. They're gymnastics establishments in Scotland. They're different ones.
Jim Hamilton trains a lot in his jeans. Have you got any melt in your gym that comes in his jeans and does weights in their jeans? Because that is Jim Hamilton for you. I don't know
if you've seen any of it, Mark.
He'll do RDLs, he'll do squats, he'll do everything, but he's got black jeans on. Anyone training jeans that you know, or is it just this helmet, Hamilton?
I don't think anyone at our gym has got as heinous dress code as that.
There must be a few scaffolders there. Come on. You must have a posh gym then, Wills.
No, I can't get over people who come in flares.
That's Jim.
I don't mind a flare.
That's Jim.
I don't mind a flare. It hasn't made its way north yet, mate. It's a hippie thing.
Oh, there we go.
Mate, what's the name of the gym? Just let's give it a shout out, mate. It'd be really cool to do that.
Number 6 Performance. Again, obviously, it was kind of reference to my career, what I started off with. But the cool thing is now it's not about me. It's got real. We've got 180 members now. We've got 2 or 3 coaches who the guys love, and it's great that I kind of oversee things now. And it's been great, and it's been going 3 years now. So. Going strength to strength.
Mate, would you get back into the game? I know you said you like spending time with your family like we all do, but surely Newcastle Red Bulls would be missing a trick not bringing you back in. Would you want to go in? This is your job interview, right? So are you in? I'll give you the job.
Are they watching? Yeah. Look. I when I first retired, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to go into coaching, and especially the kind of more management side of things. And like performance is what I'm obsessed with, not so much rugby itself. Like I'm not a tactician. Goode will tell you I wasn't a talented player who was the student of the game. I liked the preparing and being around the team and trying to be the best teammate. And I think that, I'd love to be able to offer something like that for a team environment. But yeah, what they've got in place, and I imagine what they're going to bring in is pretty cool. But I'd certainly, it's never say never.
Oh, that's awesome.
See, this is the difference between me and Welsh, right? So Will spoke earlier about he loved being in the team environment and building for something for a weekend, and those things you miss is when you're all together training. Things I miss is, do you remember House of Smith when we went out for a night out? We're all sat around the table. And that's what I miss, just the lads after you had a win. And you'd be out. Very different.
When you've had a what?
When we had a win. Yeah, we beat Leicester and we went out afterwards.
What was he like? What was he like at Newcastle?
Well, I just remember the first meeting, and Dean liked his little stupid pranks and stuff. But as we walked into the meeting and we sat down, they had the picture of Andy off Little Britain on the wheelchair. I was just like, what a bastard.
Dino. But he paid for it though, didn't he?
Hey, doesn't make you invested in it, mate. That's really cool, mate. Your story's amazing. I was a massive fan of you as a player, played against you as well, mate. And I think it would be a shame, not that you're looking to get a job necessarily back in rugby, but fucking hell, they need to be looking at someone like you with what you've done, mate, for 100%. Sure. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. Well, no, thanks for having us on, and that's been great to catch up.
So before you go, Wills, we've seen the documentary. Rob put it on the group chat. Can you just promote it so we don't miss any detail on it, where people can watch it?
Yeah, so it's called The Chase on YouTube. It's the story of going through the Bob Graham and completing the Bob Graham. So yeah, YouTube is where it's at the minute. I think that's probably the only platform it's on at the moment. But yeah, hopefully trying to get it out to people, and it's had a great response so far. So.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It was awesome to watch.
It's really, really good.
Made me feel really inferior about myself, mate. So thanks for that.
It actually did the opposite to me. I was thinking, actually, I've been up Scarfowl Pike or whatever it's called. I'm like, get me jeans. I'm like, I couldn't, mate. I could chop a pint. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Cheers, Wills. Legend, mate. Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, lads.
Top lad. Yeah, he is. What a warrior. What an absolute warrior. I mean, I played with him and I forgot how hard he trained and how hard he was. He was hard as you like.
You don't get many of them, especially now.
No.
Like, he is old school, like proper school.
Yeah.
I played against him loads, and yeah, he was just a
He could
just
bang
a
and go
bugger.
for hours,
Yeah.
and he'd smash rucks, he'd carry big. He had every facet of the game that you wanted, and he was phenomenal.
I think we should do something. I'm listening to Mark, and I'm seeing Richie McCaw do his thing. I'm not saying that we can do that.
You notice they're all back rowers.
Yeah.
Shane Williams doing it. He's a winger that's 45
You're making
kilos.
excuses. It's
I don't have the
excuse after
desire.
excuse
It's
after
not.
excuse.
My only excuse, I don't have the desire to do a mad challenge where it's going to hurt.
Okay, can I be frank with you?
Yeah.
I'm trying to save your life here. Right? All right, I'm trying to go around about the houses. I'm trying to
Full
save
Circle Fitness twice a week.
Okay.
I need to get on my watt bike more, but I don't have any inclination to do a mental challenge like that.
You might need a big episode, and you might change your thought process.
A big
around
episode,
it.
what? A life episode?
A life-changing episode.
No,
Yeah.
I'm all
Okay,
right,
cool.
John.
We'll see where we are in a year.
Okay. I didn't know, really, at the weekend, until I saw it pop up on social media on the day of the game, that Bristol's had taken their game to Cardiff. Like, there wasn't a big news flash around that. There wasn't loads of marketing around it. Still loads of people in the stadium, 40-odd thousand, I think. But I don't know. I don't know whether I'm missing a thing or something like that.
I thought the two games at the weekend was Aston Villa and Showdown.
Yeah.
That's me being honest.
Yeah. So, Quins certainly knew it was on because they finally...
It was a shit game.
They finally grew a pair physically, didn't they, a little bit?
Yeah, that's because everyone keeps calling them out. That's what Don Brown said.
But I didn't know. Marketing, again, you're going back to it. And we're not jumping on the bandwagon just because Eddie Hearn has got involved with Henry Pollock. But I actually didn't know that it was on at Cardiff until I flicked on something and on the Saturday morning. I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, that's at Cardiff today. And I don't know if that's a reflection of me or actual what's going on in rugby, but like you said, it wasn't a great game, was it?
It makes more sense for that game to be Bristol Bath. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. And the game was poor.
Yeah.
As well, the stadium looked good.
It was Bristol Bath last year.
Yes.
It was, and I think Bath sent the shags.
But even the understanding around it, I don't understand that. I understand going into new audiences and whatever, but the narrative around it, and maybe that's a reflection of me not being on social media as much, or Slughan's not educating us as much on. Why are these games? Do you know about these games?
Well, I mean, I would have thought it would have been Quins Bristol because Bristol Quins was the big game, and they're just flipping it.
What do you mean?
That was your reasoning. So Bristol and Quins played the big game at Twickenham.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they flipped
probably
it to
around like scheduling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because Principality have big concerts, and it's probably more to do with when can we get in and
I know clubs have to put a request in for a number of fixtures throughout the year, and you can have I think it's something like 4 fixtures where you can say we want to play Leicester against Bath on this day or this weekend or something like that, and it has to be a Saturday. But they can't accommodate for everyone and everything, can they?
Missed opportunity by Bristol's.
Yeah. They were flat, weren't they? And fair play. I mean, we bagged Quins last week like you wouldn't believe. And rightly so, because they've been shit. They lost 6 on the spin, their worst ever run. But credit where it's due. Don Brandt, as skipper, stood up. He was physical, and they played a different brand. They actually played. I think they thought they were playing Saracens because they got themselves up for their cup final again. But they played in a similar way to how they beat Sarries at the start of the season, which was playing a kind of kick game. Didn't have loads of possession.
More safe.
Yeah. And it's not the Quins way. But lads, guess what? The 2 games that you've won this year that are of note are Sarries at home and Bristol's away, and you played a anti-Quins way. So sometimes you have to be more adaptable.
Be more un-Quinsy is the takeaway from
There you go. But Don Brandt, 13 carries, 14 tackles, the most in the game, 3 turnovers, the most in the match, a try, and the breakdown penalty that got them 3 points as well. So Don Brandt was outstanding. The big question around Quins, though, where have you been all year, lads?
Let's be having you.
Where are you?
No, Marcus Smith.
Yeah.
He's on holiday. Where is he? He's in America somewhere.
Did I see
Miami?
Barbados or something?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Somewhere hot.
Yeah, he ain't fucking going down to Cardiff, is he? But he'll be back this week because they play Champions Cup last 16. How'd you drop someone that? Just saying. But yeah, Quins, where have you been all year performing like that?
Big shout out to them. Yeah, like Alex Don Brandt, massive fan of him on the show. Jack Kenningham as well. Iskro in the backs for them is
Iskro's
just
a beast.
Yeah, he's amazing. Caden Murley as well. We're a big fan of him, friend of the show. So this
is
is
a big shot on, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Seen some of the clips of Caden with his top off.
No,
oh, mate. There was some clips going around of him in the changing room.
What, bag of set?
No, $1 million. He looks unbelievable.
I tell you what, James Simpson Daniel is absolutely shredded. Probably looks the same as Caden Murley. Absolutely shredded. John on the other hand, we all showered together after. It was all a bit weird, but it felt right.
John still got the bush, or
what do you think? Old school, mate.
Cos there with his.
I'm not saying. He told me not to say anything.
But yeah,
completely bold.
Caden Murley ripped to the fucking hills.
Of course, he is.
Yeah. And yeah, for Quins, delighted. Their fans will be delighted that they've got the win and how they played, and it sets them up well for this weekend because all they've got left is the Champions Cup.
Yeah.
But where have you been all year, lads, performing like that?
I reckon it's because last week I said that they were going to finish bottom and the Red Bulls were going to finish above them. So of course Quins won this week. And
Red Bulls were shocking, mate. They were.
That was such a shit
unexpectedly really poor.
Yeah.
Being really good last week as well against Saints,
Yeah,
but I think that's the problem with this squad, isn't it? It's difficult to back up big performances.
Yeah, but you're at home. Like I chatted to my agent before because he's got a few lads on both teams, and he was like, "Oh, I reckon." He said 2 things will happen. He said, I mean, obviously revolutionary shit, but he said like Exeter will hammer them, or like Newcastle, it will be a close game and they'll beat it. So basically, I know what he was saying. But he had the same thought as me that Newcastle have the opportunity to beat Exeter here and back up the performance they put in last week. But I was surprised with how poor they are. But Exeter, like Ethan Roots, like these lads that they've got.
Business. They just went there for business, didn't they?
Exactly. Loving Exeter at the minute. Yeah, fair play to them. Unexpectedly in the top 4 for me, and they deserve every single bit of it.
Yeah, Paul Brown-Pope, not only he's a beast in attack, ball in hand, proper athlete, but he worked hard defensively as well at the weekend.
Looks cool as fuck as well. Yeah. I've seen some off-pitch stuff he's doing. I was like, that's the guy.
Couple of tries.
Yeah.
Shout out Christian Wade, talking about tries.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got another one. He gave a couple away, though.
You're not a fan of Christian Wade, are you?
No, I am.
You are?
Like, Wade is unbelievable going forward. What about the tackles he misses?
Okay.
He's not going for the most tackles made record, though, is he? He's just there.
Oh, so fuck the other half. Fuck the John, lads, I ain't tackling, lads.
Hey, this is Rob's not bothered about grinding out wins anymore. He just wants to see tries. He's got this Red Bull marketing thing in the headlights.
No, it's good to see him scoring tries. And would I like him to get Chris Ashton's record? Yes, I fucking
100%.
would. Yes, I fucking would.
Absolute shithouse. Why is he being horrible to us all the time?
Who?
Ashy.
We've
given him a ladder up and he is.
Is he being horrible?
Yeah, he keeps calling us a shit podcast and all of these things.
Where has he done that?
On other things that people keep sending to me. I was like, Ashy would never do that.
He's a shit house.
We've been close. So I hope that Christian Wade takes him to the cleaners. He's a good lad, Ashy, sometimes. Lovable rogue.
Yeah.
Sick of saying it, but I'll go to Bath's bench. They're just constantly see the game out for them, don't they?
Well, he did a Razzie, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. I would have liked to have seen him sticking out with the front row.
Can we just talk about the interview? Did you see this? So Johan van Graam's doing the interview talking about the front row. They're going to stay in the fight. 50 odd seconds later, he subs them off. It's like, hold on a minute, you've just said they're going to stick out the fight for a while or stay in the fight, and then you empty your two first choice props pretty much in Benno Urbano and Thomas de Toy just to come on and fix stuff, and it did fix it, didn't it?
Yeah, they've got some wicked players, and a player we haven't spoken about, give him a shout out, Kepu Tuipulotu as well.
I've seen him for a while actually.
Well, everyone's been. Is he Welsh as well?
No, he's English, mate. He's English.
Yeah, but is he a part of him that's Welsh?
Yeah.
And Samoa.
Yeah, but he's come. They're Tongan actually.
Whatever he is, he's good.
And he's come through. I think he was at Millfield, obviously Bath Academy. And he'll be on England's radar 100%.
Well, he's got the skill set of like an All Blacks hooker.
Yeah.
You know, kick, run. And you saw at the weekend.
He's got a bit of pace as well about him.
And his pace. He looks to me like the ultimate hooker when you profile him.
I think Malcolm Marks is probably... he looks a bit different to Malcolm Marks, who I'd consider the ultimate hooker.
But he's a one-off. He looks like the All Blacks hookers when I watch him play, the way that he runs, the way that he carries. Yeah. And
fair play to Johan van Graam. I suppose you've got yourself in a position. This is a sign of a great squad. Everyone knows the squad depth that they've got. Yeah, they've got a 6-day turnaround to play in Bath in the last 16 at home this Saturday. But you've rotated the squad. Finn's not playing. You know, you've pretty much picked the shags without doing a disrespect to players like Miles Reed or whatever. You probably start in the lads that are going to be on the bench this week, and you've taken the shags up to Sale, and they've done a job. Played some really sharp stuff, didn't they? And Sale did some, put some good attack on as well, some good shape, which we haven't seen enough of this year. And they've got a 6-day turnaround going down to Quins on Saturday night. But yeah, Bath, just the strength of the squad and how well coached they are. And then you've got X-factor players like Tuipulotu as your hooker, who's pushing towards your second choice hooker now. But he's definitely on England's radar.
In other news!
Swag hands, I want to hear you say it.
In other news.
All right, okay. So boring. So boring. Right, I'm going to speed through it. It's been a long episode, so let me just do this. I mentioned Brett Deacon earlier, good friend of mine. Rumours, he has taken the Gloucester forwards coaching role. He's going to be a wicked addition.
Nice.
I'm absolutely pumped for him.
Donkey is Superman.
He is more Gloucester than Cheltenham, but I imagine he's going to go to Cheltenham. So if that hasn't been announced, fuck it, I'm announcing it. In other coaching news, Robbie Deans has become Harlequins' new performance director, working both remotely, which is weird, and in person. So he's like half of his body's in
AI. Just AI him.
Australia, and his head's in. Anyway, but Jason Gilmore will be kept on as permanent head coach. Rob Hunter, good addition, former Exeter coach, is going to be doing the forwards coaching. Talking of half in, half out, there's a lot of people out or being offered outness with voluntary redundancy at Munster due to financial pressures, which
it's such a big club, isn't it?
Such a big club. And I saw Donica O'Callaghan's comments and I agreed with him, not on Glasgow. He'd be in Glasgow. Okay, all right. Not Scotland, Glasgow. But he was putting a lot of this onto the players as well and saying that he wants to see some fight. He wants to see what the players' emotion is around this news coming out, because if they make top 8 or something, there's £1 million jeopardy involved if they finish 9th or if they finish 8th, and to go out there and fight for people working at Munster. But that is a snapshot.
News.
It's awful news. It's a snapshot of where the game is at the minute. And with all the positives that we're trying to talk about, and there are, you look at stuff like that, you're talking about one of the biggest club teams ever. But look, they're not immune. Look at Wasps, one of the biggest club teams ever, and they're gone.
Well, the difference that you expect the RFU to do something about it, or they should be, because
I don't know how all that, the dynamics of that. Why is it up to the RFU? Why is it up to anyone?
They run all 4 provinces.
Yeah. Okay, so
if you don't want the biggest or second biggest province, whichever way you look at it historically, to go by the wayside, you fucking step in when you've got plenty of cash to do it.
Well, we'll see if they do.
Nah, I know what you mean.
A real shame.
Yeah.
We've got some fans in Ireland, Munster. We've been over there a few times. Some great people. I love Munster as a club.
Oh, me too.
So, yeah, a feeling for everyone out there, and they lost at the weekend as well. Another sad one as well in other news, Will Skelton, at the age of 34, ruptured his Achilles in La Rochelle's loss to Bayonne.
Some Achilles to rupture as well.
That's a fucking big old unit, isn't it? And they're big old tendons as well. So, yeah, a real shame for him. And another sad one is Tamatai Williams is in hospital with discitis, which is an infection of the spine, which doesn't sound good. I saw the Canterbury Crusaders put a post up about it, and it didn't read very well. And I wish him all the best. We wish him all the best as well, because he's a wicked player as well.
Another one, RG Snyman gone for the season, ACL.
Yeah, didn't realise it.
It's his other one. So, he did it twice.
But he had his knee strapped up, didn't he? So did it, because sometimes when you remember Harry Ellis did his medial,
and then
strapped it up for the game,
went.
his ACL went because his medial wasn't strong. Anyway, what a shame for RG Snyman as well.
Quick URC wrap then, everyone. Bulls, as Jim said, beat Munster, but a much better team performance from Munster. They had Jack Crowley and Craig Casey back in the saddle. 34-31. Big difference maker, Andre Pollard. Unbelievable goal kicker.
Long old boot on him.
Yeah. Kicked a few clutch kicks to steer the Bulls to victory, but Munster got 2 valuable bonus points, 4 tries and losing by less than 7. So a good win for the Bulls, but Munster take a bit from that. Cardiff lost to the Sharks down in Durban. It keeps the Sharks in with a sniff of top 8. The race to 8 is on. So Cardiff currently in the top 8. Sharks chasing hard, still going well under JP Peterson as head coach, and they're going to need to back that up with a few more victories. Mason Grady to see his shot on Andre Esterhuizen. Boom. 2
big humans.
Yeah, 2 very big humans, actually. What else? Leinster beat the Scarlets 36-19. Tommy O'Brien, couple of tries. Leinster on a good run. They pulled away in the second up. If you ain't beating the Scarlets, there's trouble, isn't there?
I like Dwayne Peel, though. I saw him in Wales.
Dwayne Peel back. Yeah. Was he?
Yeah, he was.
Genuine?
Yeah, genuine. Yeah.
Peely Boy's a good lad, actually. I never know when you're taking the piss.
He was, yeah. Peel back.
Peel back.
Peely.
Anyway, good win for Leinster. Keeps them in the mix. But the sad news from RG Snyman's injury, doing his ACL, gone for the season.
Do you reckon the big lad from Saints gets a look in with the box then?
JJ van der Merst.
He hell of a carry. My lad said, "Have you seen this JJ?" Because he's my lad.
Does he speak like that as well? Does he speak like that?
No, I did. Yeah, he was like, "Have you seen this JJ van der Merst?" I said, "No, I seen the JJ van der Merst. She run down the wing and he sitted them down." German.
Borat was there.
I don't know who's talking to who in this.
I speak to. I'm trying to broaden my kids' horizons when it comes to language.
Hello. Glasgow, top of the log. They beat Benetton on Friday night with a few of the internationals back. Loads of injuries, though, Glasgow. And a few boys rested. Yeah. Fergus Watson, youngster.
Yes.
On the wing.
Oh, yeah, I saw you did an interview with him after. Poor lad stood there freezing cold and you were just rinsing him and everything around him.
No, mate, I made his day. So you know what they do now with the man of the match? You put a QR code out, we give 5 nominees, and then all the fans are voting for it in the stadium and at home.
Right, okay.
And basically, every time you promo it and say, man of the match, scan the QR code, I'm just on comms going, man of the match, scan the QR code. Basically,
that's a data grab.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Basically, vote for Fergus Watson or you're wrong. So I manufactured him getting man of the match by telling everyone to vote for Fergus Watson.
Influencer, mate.
Just trying to make friends in Glasgow, what's going on up there, James.
Is he Scottish?
Yes,
he's Scottish.
Very
He has to be
Scottish.
with Fergus Watson.
Very Scottish. So, they had a good second half performance to stay top of the log. Glasgow, Benetton, poor and out of the top 8 race. The Fidelity Secure Drive Lions are on fire at the minute.
Yeah, since they changed the name.
Well, yeah, it's the new sponsorship. Anyway, they beat the Dregs 42-26, but I think they were up to 4th at one point over the weekend, the Lions. So, big shout out to them. No one's watching the game because it's too dangerous to get into Ellis Park. And there isn't enough security, even though England are playing there in a few weeks' time or a couple of months' time. But it costs too much money to put on too much security, so no fans want to go and watch it at Ellis Park.
Got no fans.
But they have made their way up the table and have gone pretty well. The Lions beating the Dregs. Connacht are a big one. Turned a corner.
Yeah.
Beat Ulster last week. Beat the Ospreys at home this week. A Matthew Devine try in the final 10 minutes gave Connacht the victory over the Ospreys, keeps them in touch with the top 8. So Stuart Lancaster going well there. Stormers beat Edinburgh. Oh my gosh.
I thought this was a good game. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, and Edinburgh did all right, but shit, Edinburgh this year.
Yeah, mate, they're not good enough, mate. No. They're literally not good enough. It's as simple as that. And the fact that Hamish Watson, one of the best players in the squad, isn't there, it's a bit all over the place there. And I saw your comments around Sean Everett as well. Big fan of him, South African, of course. Lovely bloke, but I don't know.
I blame the SRU. I don't blame... they're making the decisions on these people and teams. Sack all the assistant coaches, but keep the head coach.
Yeah.
And it just ain't good enough with the recruitment, comparing them to Glasgow and how well Franco Smith's done there. Anyway, Stormers, they're a bit sticky. They've got a couple of wins recently, but they don't look as good as they did at the start of the year. Still in second. Glasgow have got to go to Stormers in a few weeks, actually, which will be an interesting game in terms of who finishes top. Because finishing top in the URC, as you know, Jim's the most important thing, because then you go home, final.
Yeah.
Although news, if Glasgow finish top of the URC...
They don't.
They ain't playing at home.
Yeah, which is mental.
Do you know where they're playing?
Hampden?
Possibly. No, everywhere's booked in Scotland.
So if it's not in Scotland, if everywhere's booked, they're going to Newcastle?
No. Apparently they're going to Belfast.
Of course they are. Because that is on 3, 1, 2, 3, rugby. That's what we do.
Yeah, so
Fucking hell.
if Glasgow finish top seeds, apparently they're playing the final in Belfast of the URC. Anyway, last game of the weekend, which I did, was Zebra against Ulster.
Yeah, I'm in
Zebra.
the Pro D2.
Yeah, Zebra. Jim
I'm
wants to win them all.
joking. I'm joking. Am I?
Ulster played well. Cock was all over the place. Cock rose to the occasion, and Cock came in hard off his wing.
Yeah.
He got man of the match, and
There were some
Ulster,
fingers in eyes.
There were
as
fingers
well.
in eyes. We'll come to that later.
Okay.
Big Stu McCloskey went well, and Ulster up to third, above Leinster in the league as well.
All right, lads, let's finish things off with the Goode, the bad and the ugly.
We'll start off with the Goode. 5 away victories in the Premiership this weekend, so I don't think it's ever happened before. Maybe it has, but it's a great thing to see. 5 away victories. All games were won by the away team. Exeter humbled Newcastle Red Bulls 38-14. Harvey Skinner ran the show. Paul Brown-Bampo played well, scoring 2 tries. What else was good? Tigers winning the Ed Slater Cup, dominating Gloucester at Villa. Quickest ever bonus point for the club. But the Goode this week, James Hamilton, goes where?
I'm going to say it goes to Leicester.
No. It goes. I should give it to all the lads that did the cycle and the Ed Slater Cup and everything that goes with it and the emotion.
Are you going to Quins?
Wow, I've hammered them. I feel sod it. I was going to give it to Quins for beating Bristol's, but Jim Hamilton has folded before and said, "I heard what Don Brandt said, so I'm trying to be nice to them." So well done, Quins. You don't win it, but the Goode this week is going to go to everyone that was involved in the ride from Gloucester and Leicester to Villa Park in an aid of MND and the Slater Cup and the whole day out, apart from Jeff pushing Craig Doyle. The spirit and everything around rugby and what everyone's trying to do for the likes of Ed Slater and Lewis Moody and Jim Hamilton biking without his jeans must have been amazing. So the Goode goes to everyone involved in that cycle, raising money and awareness for M&D.
Here.
Was it far?
60 miles. Not really.
I ran that.
Yeah, we know
No,
you
you
ran
didn't.
there, Rob. We know you ran that far.
When did you run that?
Does everyone know that I ran?
How far did you run?
Weekend?
Genuine, how far?
80k.
50 odd miles.
Yeah, so he hasn't done
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah. Do you know Rob runs?
Yeah. The bad, few bits of bad. Will Scout on his Achilles injury, as you said. RG Snyman gone for the season as well. Toulon lost at Perpignan, 36 points to 20. Clermont took 64 points at Stade Francais. Who takes 64? That's a proper hiding. But the bad this week goes to Montauban. They lost 49-17 at Cast, right? How shit's
Didn't
this?
they get it last week as well?
Yeah, well, they got it the other week. But I mean, you're bad and then you're shit. I mean, they've played 20 this year in the top 14. They've won 1, drawn 1 and lost 18.
Sounds like my Scotland career.
Yeah, 16th defeat on the spin for them. So I couldn't find anything worse than that. So then Montauban get the bad this week. And then the ugly, few bits of ugly to get through. We're going to start off with Rodrigo Bruni, who got red carded for Bayonne against La Rochelle. Clear out, swinging arm to the head of Nolan Le Garrec. So don't be doing that. Simone Jesse, the Zebra player, putting his fingers in the eyes of Big Stu McCluskey. Red card. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And finally, the ugly goes to Alan Paver, the Cornish Pirates head coach, who slapped Jake Garside on the mush. He's the head coach, ran on the field, slapped Jake Garside. A bit of a melee kicks off. No place for DORs running on pitches and slapping players. So he got rightfully red carded. Alan Paver, hang your head in shame. You win the ugly for more reasons than one.
Hang on, didn't you have a bit of a run-in with him as well?
Back in the day when I was at Worcester and I just dominated Cornish Pirates, he didn't like me. Didn't like me because I was too good.
third
in the champ.
Couple of shout-outs to finish, lads. There's a few this week,
Yeah,
actually.
we've got a few. Let's get through them. The first shout-outs to Darlington Mowden Park under-11s who are going on tour to Munster. 53-strong touring party. Would like to say a massive thanks to Neil, Paul, Leon and Michael for helping make it all happen and telling their wives that it's for the children.
Yeah, and just a message to the dads, don't embarrass yourselves, because this is where the dads go and get absolutely steaming and be sick everywhere.
Yeah, under-11s is one of those ages where you need to drink responsibly.
Yeah, my mate's just been on an under-11s tour and he said some of the dads were an absolute shambles. So don't go too hard, but go hard.
Yeah, Dixie's Ellie went on rugby tour at the weekend.
Did she?
With the lads, yeah.
Ella?
Yeah, with Leroy.
Also, a massive shout out to everyone at Birkenhead Park RFC who are hosting a very special Memorial Day on the 25th of April to commemorate their friend Tig McLaughlin Roach, who was a top man that they lost far too soon after a very tough battle with cancer. So thinking of everyone at Birkenhead Park RFC, and get down and support the Memorial Day if you can on April the 25th.
Yeah, we got another youthful shout out to the Bristol Saracens under 15s who are now the Bristol Combination Cup winners.
That's sponsored by Fidelity.
Fidelity Secure Drive.
Is it?
No.
It should be.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Fidelity
should do because it's a mouthful. There we
Bristol
go.
Combination Cup winners.
There we go. Yeah, okay, Rasta. 17-0 down they were at half-time to come back and win 20 points to 17 in the final. Class effort.
Bristol Saracens, eh?
Bristol Saracens, yeah.
Another shout out goes to the Bedfordshire Barbarians Super Vets, a bunch of over 50s back playing the game, overweight and over indulged in life. They're self-funded, they do roll-on, roll-off subs, big numbers every week. So a big shout out to Dan, Scott and all the lads from the Bedfordshire Barbarians for being over 50 stone and being over 50 and playing rugby. Go on, the lads.
Atta boys. And finally, we've got a shout out to the Mulligan Bros. They're doing great things. George and Cam, they've faced some really tough times in their life, but they found a way to turn that pain into purpose. And they're doing some really cool things around their mental health charity, Calm. If you're interested in finding out more, head to mulliganbros.co.uk and there's some cool golf stash on there. So I imagine all of it goes to charity. Not all of it. Some of it. Some of the money goes to charity. So you're like that, Goody. You're into golf. I might get into golf.
No, James.
I need a fucking hobby.
James. That's my hobby. Leave my hobby alone.
Okay, I ain't doing it.
You
yeah,
do your
it's fine.
training in your jeans in the gym.
I will do. That's me.
We should do a challenge, or you were right before. We should do a group challenge, maybe like a group cycle or something. Have you seen that one where you go, was it to Land's End?
Where from?
No fucking
John
intro,
O'Groats?
lads.
Yeah, John O'Groats to we should do that.
Okay.
Right, you two do it. I'll bring a Kia and a Range Rover, and you two sleep in the Kia, and I'll drive the Range Rover.
Okay, I'll
Happy
do
with
that.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Slugans, you in?
I'll be with Goody.
Yeah.
So me and you do it, Rob. On
I'll
some
just like
e-bikes.
that. I'll be like that behind you.
All right
Behind you.
then. Okay. Well, we'll sit on that one for now.
There we go. Big week coming up, James. Back on Premier Sports. Champions Cup.
Looking forward
Last
to
16 games, some belters out there. Thanks for everyone for listening, subscribing, following us on YouTube and all the other socials. But mainly, James.
We're here in the studio in Spotify. Rugby Spot.
Spotify, pod.